Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Bruh, you guys need a Hajjaj, huh? You don't know that story, Hajjaj. It's not my story, it's Chef Andy's story. People are going to get angry with me now. You know that story about Hajjaj, Danny?
No, can you tell us, Chef?
I was actually not going to tell you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We'll see, inshallah. Some things happen to this ummah, to us. So many things happen because of how we move, and Allah is sending. The leader, it is the essence of a people. Like the juice is the essence of the orange, for example. So Muslims are losing sight of that too. Over the past 100 years, because we lost the link between the ummah and Allah, because the one who represents that link is the Khalifa, making us to understand how Allah wants us to be ruled. So when we lost that, years under unbelievers, years under tyrants, years under hypocrites, we start to think like unbelievers, thinking that if we only get together, we organize, we can do something. We can change the direction of the world. We forget that everything is happening with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We start to think, if only we rise up against the British, we'll be okay. If only we determine ourselves, we'll be okay. We forget that Allah is still ruling. He is still Malikul Mulk. And that ayat that we read every Fajr time, ayat that we read, which ayat is that? That we read at the khutbah today. Do you remember? Allah will give power to whoever He chooses. Allah will take power as He likes. Allah will honor as He likes, and Allah will humiliate as He likes. People are forgetting that. Well, just because we're Muslim, we're entitled to, let us say, good rulers? No. It is the essence of the people. If the people are good, the essence will be good. If the people are not, the essence, it will not be. The leaders really represent the people. Whether it's kings or people that are ruling us after that. So once upon a time, when the people in Baghdad, they started rising against the Khalifa. They started rising and they started becoming very rebellious. They started to talk against the Khalifa. They start to have talks and gatherings and people. They start showing the rebelliousness. One day, and they did not accept the leader that was there. So one day the Khalifa sent a letter to them. And the letter came, and the letter said that everyone has to gather in this big place, especially the leaders of the people, all the heads that are there. And the Khalifa also sent a new governor. He was sitting down. The letter came. There was a person who was standing next to him, reading the letter of the Khalifa to the people. And the person said, the Khalifa is saying, Assalamu alaikum. People saying, the governor that was sent, his name was Hajjaj, which history put his name as a tyrant. But this is again to understand why certain things, why certain people are sent to us. So Hajjaj was shocked when he heard this kind of rebelliousness happening in front of him. He just kept quiet. He says, read again. The person started reading again. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Khalifa is saying, Assalamu alaikum. What is the people are He got very upset. Then he took the paper, he stood up, and he says, the Khalifa is sending salams to you. And the Khalifa has sent me one of his poisoned arrows to you. Because you are rebelling against the Khalifa. Suddenly everyone says, Alaykum salam, alaykum salam. So he started reading, and he started ruling. And then he started saying, there are too many heads here. It needs to be taken off. So it happened. He called them all to his office, let's say, one day, and he said, which one am I? Am I Zalim or am I an alim? He asked them a question. Am I a tyrant or am I a knowledgeable person, a scholar, Shaykh Effendi said. So everyone was scared because they had the reputation of being a poisoned arrow, working for the Khalifa to cut off the heads that are not working, that are rising against the Khalifa. People are saying, oh, of course, Your Majesty, you are an alim. He says, he is a liar. Cut off his head. Now the one comes in. He says, what am I, a zalim or an alim? You are a zalim. He speaks the truth, but he just insulted me. Cut off his head, cut off his head, cut off his head. He cuts off everyone's heads. And then there was a man. He was a poor man. He had some position. He was called there too, and he told the other people behind him, he says, don't worry, I will answer for all of you. Don't worry, you are not going to die today. Because when they are summoned, it's like an execution call. He says, I will answer for you. They said, what? You're going to answer for us? Help us, please. He says, yes, I'm going to. Don't worry. You don't answer. You say we have a representative. He's going to answer for us. So they went into the presence. And the Khalifa is saying, what am I, a zalim and alim? They say, Your Majesty, we have a representative, he will speak to us. Khalifa was shocked a little bit because it's something new. So he came forward, this man. And the Khalifa asked him the question. He says, let me think about it. Khalifa was shocked. He says, give me some time. I will think and I will give you an answer. Khalifa liked that kind of person who was acting differently and with some bravery. So he said, this man, give him as much as he needs, as he wants, until he comes with an answer. Let's say in 7 days' time. Give him whatever he needs. So everyone got very relieved. They got 7 more days. He went home, and his wife was crying and says, what did you do? What have you done? He says, don't worry. I say, Look, all our lives we're struggling. All our lives we are suffering. At least now, the governor is going to give us as much money as we want to live very nice for 7 days. And then we die. We gotta die anyway. So gold was sent, whatever he was needed was sent. He lived very nicely. 6th day, 6th night, he started to get very nervous. He didn't know what to do. He says, well, my time is up. He says goodbye to his family. He decided to spend the night in Halwat, in the big jami that was there. So he went inside the jami, night prayer, Isha prayer. Everybody left and he hid somewhere, make sure that nobody sees him. And everybody left, and then they locked the door, and he was left inside. He says, at least let me sit and make some zikr. I'm going to die tomorrow, I may go clean. He was sitting down deep in zikr. Before long, during the time of Tahajjud, he heard a sound. The door was being opened, and he saw this bright light that was coming in. He turned, and it was very unusual. One man came in with a very bright face like a moon. Another man came in and he says, from the description, he's saying, this is Hazrati Umar. Hazrati Osman came in, Hazrati Ali came in. First one is Hazrati Abu Bakr Siddiq. All Sahabis came in. They all came and they sat. Then the Holy Prophet ﷺ came in. He went all the way to the front and he sat on the chair. Then Prophet ﷺ is saying to all the gathered Sahabis and the gathered saints that were there, and he says, bring that one in. Bring our Amra, bring our servant, our messenger there. Door open, and he saw the governor Hajjaj the tyrant. He was crawling on the floor. He saw him crawl to the floor, right up to the Prophet ﷺ, not looking at him, lifting up his hand. It was a book filled with names. Prophet ﷺ took it, opened the book. He crossed out several names. He did a couple of things. He closed the book. He gave it to Hajjaj. And Hajjaj took that and started crawling backwards. Prophet left, ﷺ, Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman, Ali. The Sahabis and the saints, they left. The door closed. And he's standing there looking like this. The next day, he appeared at the palace of Hajjaj. And Hajjaj asked him, so tell me, am I a zalim or am I an alim? He says, neither. You are a servant of the Prophet. Because last night Hajjaj looked at him and says, shh, don't speak. He says, he understood. He says, yes, you were there. Be quiet. If you ever speak, I'm going to cut off your neck. Because it's a secret that has to be kept. Go back home. You're useless, no good for nothing. Go back home. Whatever you need for the rest of your life, we will give. But keep that secret with you. The man went home. His wife was very happy. And he lived. Everyone is a servant of Allah. Either you're a good servant or you're a bad servant. Even Shaitan is a servant of Allah, but he's a disobedient servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Especially in these times where it is so much confusion that is happening. The believers should step back and should just watch. Don't take sides. Watch and understand. But don't take any sides, because all the sides are wrong. All the sides are evil. If you have to take sides, you have to take the side that is less evil than the one that is. Don't think it is between haq and batil now. Because haq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a veil over it. What is reigning now are tyrants, Jamada. We're living in that age We have to be careful. Don't fall in love. And don't fall in love with the zalims. And don't fall in love with the system. You may work because you have to, but don't have it in your heart. I believe once Imam Malik, when he was in prison and he was tortured every day. He was tortured by the rulers that wanted to control him. And he didn't want to be controlled by that. He wanted to be controlled by Haqq. Yes, there are rulers in Islam that they are not good. They did so many wrong things, but understand also that whatever wrong they did, whatever good they did for Islam, we cannot even imagine now. They've done more for the sake of Islam. Like what Shaykh Afendi used to say, whatever wrong that they did, Islam was still rising. Islam was still rising. Whatever wrong that they did, even if they're tyrants, they're this, they're that, Islam was still rising. And they were still fighting against the unbelief. So Imam Malik, as you know, he was in prison and he was tortured every day. And one of his prison guards had some faith, had some fear from Allah. And one day he managed to find him alone and he says, "Ya Imam, please, this is bothering me. Because I'm a good person," he's saying. "And I'm only doing this because I'm forced to. I don't want to do this. And I know that you are a great Imam." And there is a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ is saying, those who help the tyrants, they are the same as the tyrants. And their end is Jahannam. And he said, "This is against my will. I cannot do anything." The man is saying, "But I'm asking you, am I a helper of the tyrants?" He was a prison guard. He didn't hold any power. He wasn't given any reward. He was just a prison guard. Imam Malik says, the one who washes your clothes, who feeds your horse, who sweeps your floor, he says, that one is a helper for the zalim. You are not a helper. You're not assisting zulm. You are a zalim. Now, we have to be careful. Yes, our hands may be tied. In some ways, there's a big blessing also. Because we cannot be judged under Shariat. Because the Khalifa is not ruling. We cannot be judged under Shariat. But we will be judged with what is in our hearts and what is our intention. If we have any love towards tyranny, if we make any excuse for the tyrants, the fire will reach to us, and their fire from hell will burn us. We should not be foolish like that. We should not be emotional like that. The order that says in the Akhir Zaman, move up to the mountains, live simply, have one goat, and live your life simple with your religion simple, is not just referring physically to doing that also. It refers to where your state is, where your intentions are, simple. Don't go around learning too much. If you find a guide, hold on to that properly. Because there's a lot of confusion out there and there's a lot of guides out there. After Shaykh Afendi passed, one of the major things that they said about us, about me, is that he's arrogant. He's not humble. He always washes people up. He's always very tough. People need kindness. This is not Sufism, they say. You should be nice and quiet like a lamb. But our Shaykh saying, in the Akhir Zaman, the wolves will act like lambs. It is necessary at that time for the sheep to act like wolves. That's why for every wedding, I'm wearing the wolf skin. That has a big history also with our Shaykh. And there was a command that was given by Shaykh Maulana to Shaykh to wear that and to do something. I'll have to do it. I'm not looking forward to doing it, but one day, inshallah, maybe I'll bring some of you with me, and we will do it together, patrolling. But we don't want to be wolves in sheep's clothing. We'd rather be sheep in wolf's clothing. As you like. وَمِنَ اللَّهِ التَّوْفِيقِ كُرْمَةِ الْحَبِيبِ وَرُمَةِ الْفَاتِحَةِ. Welcome to. Alhamdulillah. So now you know the story, Danny. Surprising. So people don't like Sufis so much. They say, what? These people, even something that is so evil, they take lesson from it. They say there is a hikmah in something. So of course, there's a hikmah in shaitan. You must take lesson. If shaitan is speaking haqq, you have to listen. How can this be? Where Allah sent shaitan to the Prophet ﷺ. So many occasions. Those of you who listen to the khutbah today, at least you can say there is one occasion. Allah sent shaitan in front of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet asked him several questions. One time, and when shaitan, he comes in the appearances of with the Prophet ﷺ, he was wearing white clothes, long. He was not wearing a turban. He was wearing a piece of cloth over his head. His sides are shaved, and one mustache and a goatee, like this, long. In the form of a man, that's how shaitan appears. In the form of a man, how Hazrati Jibreel alayhi salam appears, he would always wear a jubbah, carrying a cane, wearing a turban. Full beard. People saying, this is sunnah of the Prophet. No. So many times he's saying, you're just following an Arabic sunnah. It's not the Prophet ﷺ. And there were so many different kinds of Arabs that time who were carrying different ways of even tying their turbans. And some ways of tying the turbans, Prophet ﷺ did not allow. There is a sunnah way of tying your turbans too. It is forbidden. At that time, they were tying the turbans in different ways. Their tail was so long, it reaches up to their feet. As today, there are people who are wearing turbans. Some Jews in Morocco, they wear turbans too. The Sikhs in India, they wear turbans too. The Hindus also wear turbans. There are different ways. But there are some that is, Allah is saying this is, I like this, my Prophet likes this. Some no. So don't think it's the same. It is not the same. Our women wear hijab. We see so many statues of Hazrati Maryam. She's wearing the hijab also. The rahibs, the nuns also, they cover. Have you never wondered in 1400 years why Muslims have never tried to look like a nun? Why is that? If it's up to people, they would. Like people today, they'd say, hey, it's the same. Muslims, women tying up, wearing tight clothes, tying up their hair and everything, they look like Rastafarian. Rastafarian? It's called Rastafarian? What's it? Oh, and the Zayd doesn't know. Allah. Just run. What am I saying? It's coming from mountains. Huh? They look like this, but they say, no, I'm Muslim. Prophet says, don't look like a people, you'll become like one of them. So women never. It is forbidden to do that. So there are different ways of dressing. And when Shaitan came, he dressed. Shaykh Effendi is saying this, just like a Wahhabi. And the Prophet asked him questions. One of the questions I remember the Prophet asking him, he says, who is the most ugly creature to you? Shaitan was saying, you. As we said in the khutbah last week, no? Not just last week, not yesterday. Man came to the Prophet and says, you're the ugliest person. Hasha. Prophet says, you speak the truth. Next time another man came, a Sahabi, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq said, Ya Rasulullah, you are the most beautiful person I've ever seen. Prophet says, yes, that is true. And the Sahabis that were there, they were confused and they said, how can this be true? We know you're the most beautiful, but how can you be the most ugly person that munafiq, that mushrik is saying and you're agreeing? And he says, don't you know I'm a mirror? Whatever that is in your heart, you will see in me. So, for the evil person, he's just looking at a mirror and he sees himself. So Shaitan was asked, what are the kinds of people that you love? And he said, how many types of people? Huh? Yes? 10. 10 types of people that he loves. Who does he love? Say? Can I name one? The one who drinks, he loves. Which New Year just passed. Oh, how many people in imitation of unbelievers. It's not even a Christian tradition, welcoming New Year. It's not. It's not. It's a pagan tradition where they come together, they get drunk, they do all sorts of things, they take drugs, and no Sharia. Completely. It's not even Christian. Ahlul Kitab, they have Sharia, you know. Yes, even Christians, they had Sharia. They were following the Sharia of Musa like this or like that, but they were. It was very strict. Even the time of, let's say, in England, in the time of Queen Elizabeth, there were hundreds of laws. They were not, and everything was based, because at that time, although they broke off from the Catholic Church, they were still very strong like that. Even what color of clothes they should wear, what type of food they should eat, everything is informed by the church, by the Christian teachings. And people were listening to it for hundreds of years. But this, when everyone just gets drunk under the moon, this is pagan. So when we are not questioning, where is this from? Why are we doing this? And we just become envious of a group of people and say, we want to have fun too. So much ladnat is falling, people don't know. Anyway, the alcoholic, the one who commits zina. Who else? The people that he loves. Huh?
Yeah.
What? Huh? The zalim is the first. The one who's cruel. And the Prophet ﷺ asked him, who are the people that you hate? And he listed 20 types of people. Yeah, you guys are not listening to khutbah. If you did, from the khutbah, we'll jump off to something else. Do you hear the khutbah, Shaybay? Shaybay doesn't listen, then who listens? What can we do? Okay. But our people are so crazy, like Saqib, Zishan type. They go to khutbah, they go to a Jummah, they go to some random Wahhabi Masjid Jummah, and they put on the earphones, and then they're listening to my Jummah, my khutbah. They're putting it on and they look at them. The Imam got so upset with them, started yelling at them. They just smile and look, keep on listening. Anyway, something to think about. طريقتنا الصحبة في الحي من جميع. This religion is tariqat. Tariqat, it is the essence of religion. And the essence of tariqat is sohbat. Sohbat gives you that energy. It gives you, like Shafini would say, the ammunition to fight against shaitan. Once a week, that you sit and to be reminded of your faith. Not knowledge of this or that, your faith. They talk about the faith of the strong ones, of the holy ones, and they talk about the faith of the disobedient ones. You sit and you enter into those realities. These are not stories. You enter into that realities by just mentioning their names, the holy ones. You're going to be in their presence. And they will come and they will bless you. May Allah make us to be with them here and hereafter, inshallah. Ameen. May Allah forgive all our wrongdoings, all our weaknesses, all our shortcomings, inshallah. Ameen. May Allah open the way for haqq. May Allah make batil to fall. Ameen. May Allah make us to be ready for Hazrat Mahdi alayhi salam. Ameen. May Allah bring down the tyrants. Ameen. May Allah take out tyranny from our hearts. Ameen. And make us to become sincere ones for each other, for the whole ummah, inshallah. Ameen. May believers come together. Ameen. May the unbelievers fall, inshallah. Ameen. May Allah make justice and kindness and softness and mercy to reign in this world again. Ameen. May Allah forgive me and bless you. Al-Fatiha.